Hey everyone, I'm back with a new video. This video is going to be a vintage horror book update, and it's been a bit since I've done one of these. I will say though that this update is going to be kind of small, and two of the books here aren't exactly vintage. They're paperbacks from Hell editions, so I guess you could say the stories in them are vintage, but not the copies themselves. So with that being said, I'll get straight to the showing off the haul. Okay, first up we got Mannequin Doll. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly, and this was released in 1981, and this is by Guy Smith, which he's an author I've shown off quite a bit of his books in the past. I like this cover quite a bit because of this like sinister looking doll here. I like this cover a lot more than there's like another cover of it, which is just a black, cover that has the title written in like blood red. This one I like a lot more due to the fact that it has like this, evil doll. I believe this is a British edition because it says like, oh, it has the price here. Like, oh, if you're selling this in the UK, they recommend you sell it for £1 and 10 pence. And then they have an Australian price there, but no American one. So my assumption is that this is a British edition. Okay, I'm going to read the synopsis on the back. The fairground stood on the waste land near the promenade. It was a jumble of sideshows, amusement arcades, the ghost train, even a menagerie. Also, there was a fortune teller, the Red Indian girl called Jane, who sat quietly carving grotesque wooden figures. When Roy and Liz Caitlin arrive on holiday with their daughter, Rowena, they find non-stop rain and a disturbing undercurrent of menace. Rowena is strangely fascinated by the fairground, and particularly by the mysterious Jane. Continually, she returns there against her parents' wishes, but the place has now become the focus of evil forces. Ugly deaths, mutilations, mass killings erupt in a terrifying wave of destruction, for a demonic slaughter is unleashed that can only end when an age-old score is settled. Okay, so yeah, one thing about this book I did do it to, I guess I'll mention, is the fact that this girl who named Jane, who makes these grotesque wooden figures, they call her a Red Indian. So yeah, that's a little dated to say the least, because nowadays people call them Native Americans or indigenous people. That's what at least that's what they call them here in the States. Anyways, but yeah, for my guess is that she's probably like, it's just one of those tales about like a Native American curse sort of thing. So I'm guessing these dolls have like, they're evil of some kind, and they're like, there's all these horrible things happening because of that curse. So yeah, that one again kind of dated because that's a very old type of thing about like old Native American curses, that sort of thing. All right, next we got The Festering, and it was released in 1989, and this is also by Guy Smith, as you can see there. And as you can also see, this cover is quite beat up, like this book itself. There's not much damage on the spine, but as you can see, like from these cracks here, there's a little bit, there's quite a bit of damage on the side here too. And like, all this other stuff. It's a pretty beat up book. But hey, it's still very readable, so I guess I shouldn't complain too much. But yeah, this cover I do have to say it's one of my favorites of pretty much any book, because I mean, come on, look at that. It's so grotesque. It's it's beautiful. Okay, for Mike and Holly Mannanen, hope I'm saying that correctly, the tumble-down cottage in the quiet country village seemed the ideal retreat from the rat race. But when a team of contractors is hired to drill a water well, a deadly plague is unleashed. A macabre, terrifying entity that had lurked in the bowels of the earth for centuries. The festering death had risen from its burial place. Okay, so yeah, I'm guessing when those people are drilling for water, they accidentally unleash some type of, evil entity that's causing these hideous, I think it's this hideous plague that's going around. That sort of thing. Okay, next we got David Robbins' The Wrath, and this was released in 1988. And as you can see here, they put a annoying ass sticker on the cover, which I'm gonna have to remove later. But I problem with the books do that. Like, I know they're just doing that because they can easily scan it, but it's like, well, why'd you have to put it directly on the cover? You can at least put on the spine or maybe the back of the book, something else. Anyways, okay, this one's synopsis, it says, from the silent tombs of the pharaohs, it came, infecting the world with an insidious disease more terrifying than the Black Plague. The vile infection transformed those it touched into savage, demented beasts. But the victims of this ancient curse did not die. They overran the earth, thriving on the meat of the healthy. Survivors had two options: contract the hideous sickness or meet a violent death in the rabid jaws of an inhuman killer. So yeah, I'm guessing, well, honestly, what it just said right there. An ancient Egyptian curse is released, and people turn to these like half human, half beast things, and they just start, going on a rampage. So that sounds fun. Okay, these are the two paperbacks from Hell books. So again, they're not exactly vintage, but I just thought to include them anyways. Okay, first up is Familiar Spirit, and this was released in 1983 originally, but of course this edition was not. Okay, I'll read the synopsis. Now that her life with Brian was over, she would have a home of her own. She could begin again. But something was waiting for Sarah in her new house, waiting to welcome her, to make her feel at home. Something was waiting for Sarah in the night with golden eyes that glowed and burned, commanding her obedience, demanding her soul, promising her. Sarah tried to escape the power, but night after night it drew her back, filling her with screaming horror one moment and relentless, burning pleasure the next. Sarah tried to escape the house, to fight the evil, but she came back. She will always come back because now Sarah is never alone. Oh, I really forgot to mention the author, but it's Lisa Tuttle. I guess sometimes I say it, Tuttle. But yeah, this one sounds interesting. I mean, it's definitely a lot different than these ones because these ones are a little bit more, I guess, cheesy, sort of, B movie like. This one definitely sounds more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a little bit more, I can't always think of a word, but you know what I mean. It's quite different, in contrast to these other ones. Okay, next, this is Joan Sampson's The Auctioneer. Again, hoping I'm probably mispronouncing some of these names, but whatever. This cover is it's a good cover. I like it, but it's not my favorite from Paperbacks from Hell. But it is interesting because I heard really, really good things about this book. But now just say here. Harrowing tensions explode in a series of events that could happen anywhere to anyone, just as they do to John Moore, whose days of freedom run out, who is stripped of his possessions, his courage, and his hopes by the ominous presence of a stranger impossible to resist. So yeah, this one, I really don't know much about it. I just sort of got it to complete my Paperbacks from Hell collection. As you can actually see it, we see it right there. With these two, I now have all the Paperbacks from Hell now currently out, because there's actually another one coming out later this year. Anyways, but yeah, I guess that's all my books I got in this recent haul. And I got a few other books, but those ones aren't really old at all, so I just thought not to include them. But anyways, I suppose that's it. Hopefully I didn't do too terrible of a job narrating these, synopsis. So with that being said, I guess I'll see you guys next time. So take care. Bye-bye.